Okay. So in 2001, when you came into the WWF, he was out rehabbing with a torn quad. I remember that in that big tag match he had with Stone Cold, where he ruptured his quad. He wasn't married to Steph at the time, so he didn't have the power backstage that he now has. But when you were coming into the WWE, did any of your friends warn you about him, or did you ever hear negative things or positive things maybe about Triple H when you were going there? Either way.
I think that I've always got warnings about him since I knew of him, I think. But I could have that twisted in my head. But when was Bret Hart's documentary Wrestling with Shadows?
So that a lot of that what was documented took place in 97, and I believe Wrestling with Shadows was released in like 1998, so like the year.
So I developed an opinion on him off of that.
Okay. Yeah.
Among other things. Also, I remember an interview he did on something that I saw that was like one of those secrets of pro wrestling, one of those specials, like way back in those days.
Yeah.
Like in the late 90s. There was one of those, and I remember seeing him get an interview talking about how him and I don't know if it was Shawn or Jesse James, but how they were going to be dropping the tag team straps that night or whatever. And I just remember at that time, I was really defensive about the business still. You know, that was a crime to me.
Yeah.
You know, at that time. Remember, this was just, you know, closed door society still and just coming out of that. Like when that dude was making Beyond the Mat.
Oh, yes. Yep.
That wasn't long before that either. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's the first time I remember somebody really trying to expose what was going on. And I didn't believe it should be exposed. That's the way I was trained. You know, I started ECW in 96, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, 96.
January 96. And at that time, it was still a closed door society. It was halfway open by some of the people, but I resented those people, as did Sabu. I was Sabu's soldier back then. You know what I mean? Whenever he said, do that, I would have done it. I was still at that stage, and he was my mentor. So that's the way it was. And one of the buildings, God, I'm picturing the building in my head. It might have been Queen's Elks Lodge, maybe. Then it also could have been in Boston. But there was a place where the hot dog guy would try to cut through the dressing room from the kitchen to to go out to the stands, because otherwise he had to walk like all the way around and shit. And when he would come through, Sabu would he would knock the tray out of his hand, fucking kick his ass, you know, like throw him out the door and stuff.
Yeah.
And at that time, all the other guys in ECW were kind of like, Sabu, do you think that's a little excessive? Because the times were just moving during that time. You know, ECW was the first crowd that I knew of, the ECW crowd, and the ECW talent wrestled in front of the first smart crowd that I know of, where, And so that was all like something that I still ain't comfortable. Like some people like trying to bite the hand that feeds them. I don't get it. Why you would say, hey, I'm going to pull this rabbit out of this hat. I want you don't know the rabbit's there, right? You're going to think it's an empty hat. We're going to show you. We'll show you the hat. You're going to think it's empty, but it's not. The rabbit's in there, right? I'm going to turn this little mirror gimmick and pull the rabbit out. It's going to be awesome. You're going to be surprised. Okay, ready? And then they go and do it, and they actually, you know, and people are trained, so they'll be like, but really the magic ain't there when it's too predictable. And what could be more predictable than you telling everybody that you're reading a damn script? Who gave you the script anyway? I don't know. Thank God they've never given me a script except for promos. But anyway, so I remember judging Paul by exposing on that show. I thought since he was doing a job that he just wanted to be able to tell everyone, you know, hey, it's a shoot when I'm over, it's a work when I'm under. You know, like that's a long standing joke with the wrestlers. And anyway, I had a little opinion between that and between him and Shawn Michaels talking to Bret Hart's wife. I'm sorry, Owen's wife, whoever, Bret's wife in the hallway. I swear to God, Martha, I wish I did. I wish I had. I didn't know. I swear to God. You know, like, you remember that part?
Yeah. In Wrestling in Shadows. Yeah. I can't remember if it was Martha or Julia though.
Yeah, I think it was Martha, but I had an opinion of them. So there was that. And then, you know, talking to some guys like Bret, you know, that gave me some feedback before I knew the guy. So I was biased.